Vancouver resident Mark Milburn has his own business and says he has used bank drafts in the past without issue. A bank draft is supposed to be a safe, guaranteed form of payment, but it turns out Mark became the victim of fraud. Now he says he's wondering why his bank didn't do more to protect him.
How is any business going to be able to trust a bank draft anymore?
It's a question Mark Milburn has been asking himself ever since he received a fraudulent bank draft. Back in early January, Mark was selling a $10,000 luxury watch similar to this one on Facebook Marketplace. The Vancouver resident says he's used the social media platform many times in the past without issue.
I've never been concerned.
Until recently, when an interested buyer contacted him on the social media platform, agreeing to purchase the watch.
She had offered to meet at the police station or at the issuing bank or a bank and wanted to use a bank draft.
The buyer, Mark says, sent her fiancé to meet up with him. Mark says this is the man who showed up outside his home to pick up the watch and deliver the bank draft. But before he completed the sale, Mark says he had a good look at the draft.
This was flawless.
To be certain the draft was valid, Mark says he went in person to his RBC branch and spoke with the teller, who said,
"You have nothing to worry about, looks great." Legitimately felt total confidence in just the bank draft itself. She then goes, "Would you like to clear the funds?" I hadn't asked for it, she'd offered. I said, "Sure, that's great." She then takes it and talks to the manager. The manager clears the funds in that moment, no questions asked.
Mark says he then handed over the watch to the buyer. But 4 days later, Mark discovered he now owed $10,000 in one of his personal RBC accounts. Immediately, he returned to his RBC branch, but says he got few answers and was told to cross the street to TD, the financial institution which issued the draft. When the TD manager checked the bank draft number, Mark says, he was told it was a fake.
The thing that's crazy, what she explained to me, was that this bank draft existed. So this number actually correlates to something at some point in time.
RBC wouldn't share details with Consumer Matters about Mark's case and did not answer our questions, but stated in part, we remind clients to take precautions whenever receiving funds to ensure they are dealing with a legitimate source and are comfortable with the form of payment they are accepting. TD stated in part, bank drafts are validated once they're deposited and processed by the negotiating institution and can be returned if found to be counterfeit. Still, some cybersecurity experts say banks are not doing enough to protect consumers.
I think there's been no communication to the public about bank draft fraud. And unfortunately, that goes for all kinds of other types of fraud that people just assume is inherently secure.
Mark is now out thousands of dollars, wondering why his bank didn't do more to protect him.
I completely feel like they let us down.
Now, when it comes to bank drafts, know the risks. This type of fraud apparently is on the rise. Cybersecurity experts warn consumers need to assume there has to be a clearance period for checks and bank drafts, and the funds must be confirmed before moving ahead with the sale. Also, it's a good idea to contact the issuing financial institution of the draft yourself before completing the transaction. Meantime, Mark did file a report with the VPD. We are told by police the file remains open and no arrests have been made. And if you have a consumer issue, you can email me at consumermatters@globalnews.ca.